Hi there, Mr. Muhammed is here. This is Oxford Complete Mathematics for IGCSE students. In this tutorial, we're going to find the equation of a line which is perpendicular to a given equation and passes through a given point. So, as we go along, I'm going to give you some hints to help you do this topic very well. Then, before we start, in the previous tutorial, we learned that when two lines are parallel, it means their gradients are equal. And today, we have to memorize this. When two lines are perpendicular, the product of their gradients is equal to 1. Simply, when, let's say this is an equation of a straight line, 2x minus 5. So how can we check if this equation, y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 4, how can we check if this equation is perpendicular on this one? It means the graph of this equation is a straight line. The graph of this one is another straight line. How can we check if these two straight lines are perpendicular on each other or not? Well, to do this, we simply just multiply the gradient of the first line by the gradient of the second line. So it is like this, 2 times negative 1 over 2. 2 times negative 1 over 2 is equal to negative 1. So whenever the result of multiplying the gradient of two lines is equal to negative 1, it means the lines are perpendicular. So we can use this idea to find the gradient of a line while the other line is known. For example, y equals 3x plus 1. How can we find another line which is perpendicular on this one? Then we will do it like this. 3 times a number is equal to negative 1. This number is the gradient of the other line that we want to find. Then think, 3 times which number is equal to negative 1? How can we get rid of this 3? We can divide both sides by 3. So from this, these two 3's will cancel each other. M is equal to negative 1 over 3. So it means the gradient of a line, which is negative 1 over 3, is perpendicular to this line. And there are so many lines that they have this gradient. Sometimes the question, to restrict the answer, gives a point, just like the set of exercise. There are infinitely many lines that have this gradient, but only one of them has this gradient and passes through a certain point. So it is just like an explanation, and I'm going to explain it over and over to do all of these questions, and you feel free to ask any question, comment below. Question 1. The line is y equals x plus 2. We need to find the equation of a line which is perpendicular on this one. Perpendicular means when they cross each other, there's a perfectly 90-degree angle between them. It means these two lines are perpendicular. Then we need to find the equation of a line which is perpendicular on this one and passes through 3, 4. Okay, then what is the gradient of this line? The gradient of this line, since there is no any number in front of x, it means it's 1. Now, 1 times m is equal to negative 1. What could this m be? This m is the gradient of the line that we want to find. 1 times negative 1 is equal to negative 1. So m is equal to negative 1. Now we know the gradient. We can write the equation of the line like this. Y equals negative 1. X means just negative x plus c. To find c, we saw this case a lot. To find C, we have a point. This line passes through this point. Let's use this point to find C. In this point, the first number is x, the second number is y. Let's just substitute 3 in place of x, 4 in place of y, and we will be able to find C. 4 equals negative x means negative 3 plus C. Now, we want to have C alone on this side, then this negative 3 goes to the other side, will be positive. 4 plus 3 is equal to C. So from this, C is equal to positive 7. Now we know the value of C. We can complete the equation. C is positive 7. So instead of plus C, we write plus 7. So this is the equation of a line which is perpendicular on this one and passes through this point, just like what the question 1 said. This is the answer. For question 1, the answer is negative x plus 7, y equals negative x plus 7 is the answer. This line is perpendicular on this one and it passes through this point. Now let's do the same thing for question 2. Remember, when two lines are perpendicular, when you multiply their gradients, the result is negative 1. It must be negative 1, nothing else. It's a rule. Question 2, y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 1. Okay, now negative 1 over 2, which is the gradient of this equation, times which number will be equal to negative 1? Then negative 1 over 2, if we multiply it by 2, it will be negative 1. So m, to make this easier, m is always the upside down version of this number. Always the upside down version of this number with a different sign. Now this is negative 1 over 2. So m will be, it's negative, m will be positive. It's 1 over 2, m will be 2 over 1. And 2 over 1 is equal to 2. So m is always the upside down version of this number with the opposite sign. This will help you. Then m is equal to 2. We got the gradient. We can write the equation of the line which is perpendicular on this one. Y equals 2x plus c. C is not clear. Then the question gave us a point to help us find C. Then we substitute the point in this equation, 2 in place of x, negative 1 in place of y. Then we will see something like this. Negative 1 equals 2 times 2 plus c. Negative 1 equals 2 times 2 is 4 plus c. When the 4 goes to the other side, it's positive here, it will be negative. Then negative 1 minus 4 is equal to c. Negative 1 minus 4 is equal to negative 5. So we got the value of c. We can write the equation like this. Y equals 2x minus 5, because minus 5 is the value of c. So question 2, the answer is y equals 2x minus 5. Question 3 is your task. It has the exact same idea. Now question 4. Question 4. Y equals negative 1 over 6x plus 4. Now the gradient of this equation is negative 1 over 6. Then negative 1 over 6 times m, which is the gradient of the other line we want to find, must be equal to negative 1 because the question says they are perpendicular. Okay. Then we said m is the upside down version of this number with the opposite side. This number is negative, m must be positive. This number is 1 over 6, m must be 6 over 1. And 6 over 1 is just 6. So m equals 6. Now we have the gradient y equals 6x plus c is the equation of the line of question 4. But c is missing. A point is given 5, 0, 5 in place of x, 0 in place of y. This line passes through 5, 0. It's given in the question. So we're going to put 0 in place of y and 5 in place of x. 0 is equal to 6 times 5 plus c. 6 times 5 is equal to 30 plus c is equal to 0. 30 plus which number will be 0? Of course, 30 plus negative 30 will be 0. So from this, c is equal to negative 30. Then we can complete the equation because we got the value of c. So the equation is y equals 6x minus 30. So this is the equation of the line which is perpendicular on this one and passes through this point. And the answer of question 4 is y equals 6x minus 30. Question 5. The equation is 5x minus 2 and the point is 7 and 2. Okay. Then the equation is 5x minus 2. This is the equation and we want to find something perpendicular on this one. Then we must write y equals, the gradient here is 5. 5 times which number will be negative 5? Or in other words, this gradient is 5. If we make it upside down with the opposite side, it will be 1 over 5. This 5 is positive, it will be negative. So this is the gradient of this line, and this will be the gradient of the other line, which is perpendicular on this one. Then the gradient is negative 1 over 5, so negative 1 over 5x plus c. To work out the value of c, we will substitute these two numbers in place of x and y as it's given in the question. Now 7 in place of x and 2 in place of y. 2 is equal to negative 1 over 5 times 7 plus c. Now, whenever you multiply a number by fraction, you just multiply it with the top, or you can do with these calculations with calculator as it's allowed in IGCSE papers. Then we have negative 7 over 5. When it goes to the other side will be positive. 2 plus 7 over 5 is equal to c. Let's use calculator. 2 plus 7 over 5 is equal to 3.4. So c is equal to 3.4. 3.4 is the value of c. It's positive, so it will be plus. Then we know the value of c now. Well, it will be negative 1 over 5x plus 3.4. So this line is perpendicular on this line, and this line passes through this point. Question 6, and it's the last question here. The equation is not given. That's what makes this question interesting. The line through these 2 points. Since we don't know the equation of the line, we cannot find the equation of the line which is perpendicular on this greenly highlighted equation. We learned how to find the equation of a line before, so let's use the previous rules to help us find the equation. Now, to find the equation, we always need 2 pieces of information. The first one is the gradient of the equation, and the second one is the value of c, because we follow this form, y equals mx plus c. Okay, then we know how to find gradient when 2 points are given. We studied this. M is equal to, let's call these ones y2 and x2, these ones x1 and y1. Then y2 minus y1, 7 minus 1, over x2 minus x1, 5 minus 3. 7 minus 1 is equal to 6. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. 6 divided 2 is equal to 3. So the gradient of this greenly highlighted equation, the gradient is 3. So y equals 3x plus c. Whenever we have plus c, we can pick one point. We have 2 points. Let's pick one of them to help us find c. Then 3 in place of x, 1 in place of y, because always the first number is x, the second number is y. Then 1 equals 3 times 3 plus c. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus which number will be 1? 9 plus negative 8 will be 1. Or we can do it the ordinary way. If this 9 goes to the other side, will be negative. We'll have something like this. 1 minus 9 is equal to c. 1 minus 9 is negative 8. So we got the equation. It's 3x minus 8. This is the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So we got it. Let's write the equation here. Y equals 3x minus 8. Okay, now we need to find an equation which is perpendicular on this one and passes through this point. Now it looks like any of the previous questions. You know what are the steps to start finding an equation. Then here, this gradient is 3. If we make it upside down, it will be 1 over 3. And this one is positive. Then the gradient of the other line is negative 1 over 3. Now we know the gradient y is equal to negative 1 over 3x plus c. To find c, one point is given here, which is negative 1, 0. We'll put negative 1 in place of x and 0 in place of y. This will help us to find the value of c. 0 in place of y equals negative 1 over 3 times negative 1 plus c. 0 equals negative times negative will be positive. 1 times 1 over 3 is still 1 over 3 plus c. 1 over 3 plus c is equal to 0. It means c is negative 1 over 3. Because any number, if you add it with its negative, it will be 0. Then the value of c is negative 1 over 3. The equation is negative 1 over 3x minus 1 over 3, which is negative 1 over 3 is the value of c. Now we got everything right. This equation is perpendicular on this one, and it passes through negative 1, 0. Just to show you how we know these lines, these equations are perpendicular, I'm going to draw the first equation and the equation which is perpendicular on. The first equation is y equals x plus 2, and the equation that we work it out is negative x plus 7. I'm going to show you their graphs on GeoGebra, then see how they are perpendicular. So this is the graph of y equals x plus 2. Y equals x plus 2. C is 2, it means the line crosses y-axis in 2. So this is the graph of y equals x plus 2. What we worked out was negative x plus 7. So this is the graph of y equals negative x plus 7. As you see here, here is a perfect 90-degree angle between them. So whenever you see a 90-degree angle between two lines, it means these two lines are perpendicular. Just like y-axis and x-axis. Y-axis is perpendicular on x-axis because here is a perfectly 90-degree angle between them. But this line, which is negative x plus 7, is not perpendicular on x-axis because there is no 90-degree angle between x-axis and the line. So these two are not perpendicular. And this line, the same line, negative x plus 7, is not also perpendicular on y-axis because between y-axis and the line there is no 90-degree angle. So it means this line is the only line which passes through the given point in the question and is perpendicular on this line. Feel free to ask questions, comment below whatever question you have. I hope you find it easy. Thank you for watching.